Happy New Year. It's 2024 and 2023 has actually been probably one of the most transformative years for me because it was the first year of me not working like a full year because I started working when I turned 16 and I pretty much didn't stop until last year, until I was 30. So I worked straight for 14 years and I finally decided to take a break. I think I was depressed without knowing about it. I was in a pretty dark space. I was lost in my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do. 2023 was a year full of change and transformations and lessons for me personally. So I thought I'd share 23 lessons that I learned in 2023 that I'm actually bringing into 2024 with me. So lesson number one is stop blaming your parents for everything that's wrong in your life. I think it's one of the most important lessons for me personally. It was 2023 was a year where I spent the most time with my mom than before because I moved away from my country when I was 16. I would see her for like maybe a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks out of a year. But 2023, we spent a lot of time together and I realized that I had a lot of unresolved issues with my parents, and I found that I was blaming them for a lot of the things that were going wrong in my life. And then I read a book called The Courage to be Disliked. It's probably one of my favorite reads of 2023. And in that book, I honestly forgot a lot of the lessons in that book, except for this one main lesson that I took away from it, which was if you have a bad relationship with your parents, it's not because of anything your parents did, but it's because you choose to have a bad relationship with your parents. Because once you are an adult, everything that happens in your life is a result of your choice. Maybe not everything, but a lot of the things, especially relationships with other people. Not to judge anyone's choice, like if you choose to have a bad relationship with your parents, that's totally up to you, that's your decision. But for me, it was, if it's my choice, then I need to ask this question of myself: do I care to have a good relationship with my parents? And the answer was yes. And so a lot of that trauma, a lot of my resentments towards them kind of fell off instantly because I realized it's my choice at this time and I care to have a good relationship with my parents. So when I stopped blaming them, I let go of a lot of baggage and a lot of negativity that was holding me back. That's why it's lesson number one. Lesson number two, reading nonfiction self-help books actually changes your life. So like I said earlier, 2023 was a pretty dark time in my personal life. Here's the thing, nothing was really wrong in my life last year. Everything was great. I have a house, I have a car, I have a husband, everyone is healthy. My mom is here, my sister is healthy, everyone is doing great. I don't know why. I just was not happy in 2023. And so I started reading a lot of self-help books that I thought would help me, and they actually did. What I learned is that these books give you a point of view that you would never have on your own because it gives you access to the experiences and wisdom of some of the most successful people in the world. Lesson number three, taking small steps towards your goals is better than taking no steps at all. I've started a lot of little projects over the years that I would start and I would go full force from the get-go, and then I would maybe last a month or two and then I would give up. One project I actually lasted almost a year, but I still gave up and burnt out and stopped doing it. And I think the reason is because I always put too much expectation of myself and I try to take huge steps from the get-go without any experience, any knowledge, any wisdom in the matter. Okay, I'm just gonna go full force, I'm just gonna do this. I would put so much of myself into this project and then see no result and then eventually give up. I think taking small steps instead of big steps and then giving up is a lot better. So I've decided that whatever it is I want to pursue in my life, I'm just going to spend 2 hours a day pursuing this or that thing. I'm going to show up every day, but I'm only going to give 2 hours a day and then just see what happens. And I found that doing that actually keeps me in the game longer. So we'll see how it goes, but so far this is something that I'm enjoying. Lesson number four, you are living this life for the first time. I think I have had such high expectations of myself and I would beat myself up if I started something and failed at it. And I sometimes forget that I'm literally doing this life for the first time. I don't know everything. I don't have an answer for every problem. I don't have a solution for every problem. It's okay to give yourself some grace. So learn this the hard way, but I hope you don't have to. Give yourself some grace and just remember that you are living this life for the first time. Lesson number 5, if you allow yourself to dwell on a negative thought for a little too long, you're gonna get stuck in a negative loophole. This is something so true about me. There is no way, by the way, to escape negative thoughts altogether. A default thought for a lot of people is a negative thought. So I understand that it's really hard to control your thoughts, and that's not really the point. I think the point is to not dwell in your negativity, to not get stuck in it. I find that if I spend more than one day, or even, okay, let's say more than 2 days thinking about something negative or expecting a negative outcome, I will get stuck in a loophole. I give myself 1 to 2 days, usually when I'm really down, to be negative, to be sad, to be a victim, and then I snap out of it. Whenever I feel like a negative thought is occupying my brain too much, I trained myself to actually catch the negative thought and realize, oh, okay, I'm thinking negatively. And I would immediately replace this thought with an image of an opposite, like a positive outcome. So for instance, before filming this YouTube video, and even while filming it, I sometimes think, oh my gosh, like this is so stupid. People are gonna hate this video. I'm gonna get negative comments, or I'm gonna get no views at all, which is possible, and it's okay if I don't. The thing is, I catch myself thinking this negative thought, and then I replace the thought with an image of a lot of people watching this video and a lot of people actually enjoying it and leaving me positive feedback. And so that's what I would recommend, because it puts you in such a positive state. It puts you in a higher vibration, and it just makes you feel better. Lesson number 6, life never stays still, even if it feels like it sometimes. So last year felt like the longest year of my life because, like I said, I was just in a dark place, and anything that would happen that was not very pleasant would just feel like I'm just stuck in a nightmare. But I realized that life never stays still. It always changes. Literally every single day something new happens. If you are going through dark times, just know that they're not forever. But also, if you're going through a really good time in your life, be grateful, because it's probably not forever. Lesson number 7, give allowances for people's weaknesses. I find personally that it's much easier for me to live this life and coexist with other humans when I'm not too hard on them, because I honestly give a lot of excuses for my own weaknesses. So I don't know why I expect so much of other people, especially strangers. So it's a lot easier to coexist with other people and live in harmony with the world whenever you practice this. Number 8, take responsibility for your choices. This may sound counterintuitive, but it actually is much easier to live a fulfilling and happy life when you know that you are responsible 100% for the choices that you make. Yeah, it's a lot easier to actually do something with your life when you realize you are responsible for your life. Number 9, be the light in times of darkness. Last year was very difficult with political conflict specifically, and I know everyone takes a side, everyone has an opinion, and I think it's kind of become like sports for people. I know this sounds really sad, and it's very serious what's going on in the world. Just has become like a sports for people, where they wake up and they check, the news, like, did my team score? Did my team do well? And it's really sad, because it's actually people's lives. I did spend quite some time this year actually arguing with people on the internet and in person about political conflicts and trying to prove my point of view. And I would also actually share a lot on social media, my personal social media, to raise awareness. And I realized there's so much darkness in this world. And every time I would wake up and check my social media, and I would feel miserable, because everyone is raising awareness and sharing this darkness and sharing this negativity and promoting the darkness by talking about it more and more and more. So when I say be the light, be the person who does not participate in the arguing, who doesn't, and honestly, this is a note to self more than anything, do whatever you feel like is the right thing to do. But for me specifically, being the person that gives hope, being the person that says a prayer instead of feeling bad and feeling sad and feeling guilty is more beneficial, because unless you live in the places where there are just really sad things happening, it doesn't really affect your day-to-day life. So getting stuck in the negativity and getting stuck in the darkness isn't helping anybody. Instead, say a prayer, do a kind thing for somebody, and try to be as positive as you can be. Number 10, the outside world is your mirror. So this is a very important lesson that I actually learned a few years ago when my husband and I were going through a rough patch in our marriage. And I took an online course actually on marriage. It doesn't exist anymore. I couldn't even share it if I wanted to. But one of the lessons in that course was every quality, not every, but a lot of the qualities that upset you about your significant other, if they really get on your nerves and if they really make you upset, it's probably because you have the same qualities that you need to work on. So instead of fixating on your partner's mistakes and shortcomings, try to look in the mirror, try to work on your weaknesses and your mistakes, and try to improve yourself to be a better partner. And once I started doing that, I promise you, my relationship improved so much. And so this was a few years ago. I've forgotten about that until last year kind of reminded me about this lesson, because I did have a couple of personal conflicts in my relationships with other people, not with my husband, but with other people. And so I realized that a lot of the things that make me upset about them is something I need to work on, that I deep down I know I need to work on, and I keep putting it off. And the reason it upsets me so much in other people is because I ignore it in myself, and the longer I ignore it, the worse it gets. So just remember that the outside world is your mirror, and if something is really bothering you about the world, try to look within and try to work on yourself first and foremost. Lesson number 11, when you pray, imagine the thing that you are praying for. So I have always had issues with regular prayer. It's just really hard for me to pray daily and feel good about it and feel optimistic about it and want to pray. And so what I realized I was doing wrong is it was just a mechanical thing for me. Like I would just go and do it as a habit, but I never actually felt anything. But when I started to, during the prayer, the things I'm praying for, to actually start to imagine them, I noticed that I feel a much deeper, stronger connection with the Creator. And so I actually look forward to my prayers now. And a couple of the things that I have been praying for manifested when I did that. So I hope you find this helpful, and I hope you try it out. The next one is pay attention to who you really are. So I consume a lot of social media. Not right now. Right now I'm taking a break, but I usually, in my regular life, consume a lot of social media. Like I look at other people's lives, like on YouTube, I watch vlogs. I found that I kind of get lost in those people's lives. Like when they set goals, I think these are my goals. And then when they want something, I think I want the same thing, but I'm actually a very different person. I actually have different values than those people, and sometimes separation and breaks are very important for me, specifically because I forget who I am in my core. That's why this reminder, pay attention to who you are, what is it that you want, what is the most valuable to you in this life, and try to live your authentic life. Number 13, be kind. And I'm not talking about being kind when the other person is kind to you, because that's easy. I'm talking about being kind when someone you're talking to is not nice, is rude to you. Because when you deal with other people, we don't really know what they're going through. And I know this sounds so cliche, and I don't mean it like that. Or I guess I do. But it actually, if you think about it, it actually is very important to put yourself in other people's shoes. And just, like I said earlier, give people allowances for their weaknesses. Let them be weak sometimes. Be graceful. Be kind. But the more important part of this lesson is, it's not even about the other person. It's about how you're going to feel after that interaction. If somebody was rude to me, I used to think, it is so unfair. I need to defend myself. I need to not let this person walk all over me. But actually, I would defend myself, and then I would feel like shit afterwards. I would not feel good. After the interaction, when they are, say, rude to me or not very nice, and I am still kind and I am true to my values, after the interaction, I feel so much better. I don't hold any grudges against the other person, and I feel really good about myself as well. The next one is exercise regularly, but not for the looks, but for your mental health. I used to be like this crazy workout person, go into the gym. I always looked at these fit people that they always looked happy and healthy and successful to me, and I just wanted that lifestyle. So I thought, okay, I need to go to the gym. I never stuck with it. So last year I finally joined the gym again after probably like a 5-year break, and I realized that I actually feel amazing, incredible right after my workout. I am more productive, I let out a lot of steam at the gym, I am more positive and optimistic right after that, so it's really good for my productivity. I started doing it for the mental health, and it's a lot easier for me to actually stick to it. Number 15, take regular breaks from social media. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but also I wanted to talk about comparing yourself to other people on social media, because people post these seemingly perfect lives on the internet, and you think that you are the only loser in the world who doesn't travel and doesn't buy nice things for yourself and doesn't have all these brands. And you are not, I promise you. But it's just so toxic to compare yourself to other people. And I find that when I take breaks, it's really hard because it's an addiction. I grab my phone, I immediately go on Instagram, and then I'm like, oh wait, I deleted the app. So it's really hard at first, but I promise you, I'm a week in right now. So I started this year with no social media. I feel like I have so much free time, but also free mental capacity. Like I have so much freedom in my brain, emptiness in the best sense. I am not thinking about these stupid brands that I want to buy. I'm not thinking about, oh, so-and-so is traveling and doing this, and I'm not. I have so much more time to create and to read and to improve my own life and focus on my own life. And I just think if you are in the self-improvement era of your life, it's so important to detach from the internet for a little bit. Number 16, eat less. And I don't mean this in like a food disorder way, okay? Eat enough to be healthy, but I am the type of person who would eat more than I needed. Like I would eat past being full. So what I started doing now is I never changed my portions or anything, but I would sit down and have my regular plate of food, and I would eat half of it, and I would give myself like 10 minutes. I would just eat slower, talk to my husband, do something, and then come back. And I found that I actually never wanted to finish my plate after the 10 minutes. Like I would be like, oh, I'm actually pretty full. And when I started doing that, my sleep got better. I felt a lot lighter. I felt so much more energetic. I think it's much healthier because we are in this society. I live in the United States where there's just abundance of everything, abundance of food, abundance of everything, and you just want to eat, 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 eat. When I stopped doing that, I actually found that I feel much better. So I hope nobody takes this the wrong way. And this is more like notes to self anyway. So if this doesn't apply to you, you don't have to do it. You don't have to try it. Okay, number 17, worship God always. So I learned that the times that I forget about God, I find that I start to worship other things in life. So I start to consume too much TV or listen to music a little too much, or like I get obsessed with some actors, actresses, or singers. I think humans are designed to worship something, to always look to something bigger and better than them. And if it's not God, it's going to be something else. And for some people, it becomes more tragic. It becomes drugs and alcohol, a lot of other disrupting things. So that's why I say worship God always, because when you worship God, it's impossible for you to worship anyone or anything else. Number 18, tell your friends and family, but mostly family, about your needs. For me specifically, I am a woman who needs a lot of attention. And I also need to be told that I'm doing a great job. I need to be praised. This could come from, I don't know, some childhood trauma or something. It doesn't really matter. I have this need. And so before, my husband is always glued to his phone, like addicted, always on his phone. And before, I would get extremely upset when he would be on his phone, just scrolling, want attention, and then never say anything. I just expect him to know that I want attention, and then he doesn't give it to me, and then I get upset. Or if I make dinner for my sister and she eats it, but she doesn't really praise me or tell me how delicious it is or something, and I'm really wanting to hear those words and she doesn't give it to me, I get resentful. So I know this sounds super silly. It doesn't really matter. So what I started to do is actually I started to tell these people about my needs. I would tell my husband when I felt like I needed more attention. I would tell my sister that I needed praise. I would tell my mom that I needed her support. My relationships with these people have improved so much. Number 19, personal appearance matters. Last year, I told you I quit my job, so I was at home all the time. There were days where I literally did not even brush my hair once all day. I would not wash my face. I would not always brush my teeth on time. I know this is disgusting, but I went through a phase of being like a slob. My mental state matched the way I looked. And so the minute I started actually caring about how I look, like caring about how my nails look and my teeth and my skin and my hair is brushed and I'm, dressed well, I feel so much better. I actually feel more confident, happier. I don't know how to explain it, but I would feel better when I looked better. So take care of your personal appearance because it does matter. Number 20, stop watching true crime, scary movies, or sad stories. So my therapist actually told me to stop watching these things because I used to be obsessed with true crime. I would watch it all the time. I would consume it. And I found that whether you realize it or not, these things actually do have a huge influence on you and a huge impact on how you feel. Like I said, I love true crime. I love like creepy, murdery thrillers, but it's not the best thing for my psyche. It's not the best thing for my mental health. So I actually remember very vividly when my therapist told me to stop watching this kind of stuff, and I did. And I remember from that point on, I felt so much lighter and so much better and just more playful in my everyday life, more positive, more funny. And I was like, what? I've changed. I'm different. And I realized it's because of the things that I started consuming. Like I started actually listening to a lot of comedy podcasts instead of true crime podcasts, and watching sitcoms and watching these lighthearted movies. I felt better. And I promise you, because there's this crazy obsession with true crime in America, I promise you, just take a break from it for like a month and see what that will do to your mental health. Number 21, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. I feel like there's nothing else to say here except read Atomic Habits and actually do everything that book suggests that you do because it's life-changing. Number 22, being a victim is the worst thing you can do to your personal development. Take every category of your life that you are not happy with and find a common denominator. You will find that the only common denominator is you. Last year, one of the reasons I was in such a dark place is because I am going through something in my life. I was going through something in my life. I still am going through it, but last year I was in a victim mentality. I felt so bad for myself. I felt like I was a victim and God is so unfair. And why does he put me through this? And eventually I'll share what I'm talking about, but not right now. But regardless, I felt like such a victim for so long, for almost the entire year and even the year before that. And so this year, as soon as this year started, I shifted. I got out of that victimhood mentality and I decided that I was going to do everything that was in my hands that I could control and do, and then just let go and stop feeling so sorry for myself. And actually, I found that so many doors opened up for me. I found so much information that I could have never found before because I was never looking for it. I found so many answers to my questions that I was not looking for because I was just stuck in a victimhood mentality. I was a victim. I wasn't even searching for answers because I just was too busy feeling sorry for myself. So stop feeling sorry for yourself if you want to improve your life. I have decided that I no longer want to be a victim. I know that I am 100% responsible for my life. I'm not responsible for everything that happens to me, but I'm responsible for how I react to those things and where I take my life from that point forward. That's what I've decided that I'm going to focus on. Number 23, this is the last lesson. Do what scares you most. That's where your fulfillment is. For as long as I can remember, I've been wanting to have a YouTube channel. No particular theme. I've just always wanted to share my ideas, my thoughts. It's been the scariest journey of my life. I'm so scared to do it. I'm so scared that I'm not even scared of like negativity and negative feedback. I'm scared that there's going to be no feedback. I'm scared that nobody will watch it, nobody will find this interesting. And while that's a possibility, it doesn't even matter anymore, because I realized that just the doing of it, like sitting here right now talking to this camera, talking out loud in this empty house, may look like I'm a crazy person, but I find so much fulfillment in this. Actually discussing things that matter to me, that I think is important, my personal lessons, and being able to look back on myself like in a few years, how I thought and what was important to me. I just think this is so cool. So I'm gonna keep doing it. I feel so fulfilled and happy doing this, even with no result. If there's something out there that scares you so much, but you've been wanting to do it, just do it. Not for any result. Do it for yourself. Do it for the actual process. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Once I realized that, something clicked in my brain, and it's so much easier for me to actually now sit here and talk to this camera. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Anyway, guys, that's it. These are my 23 lessons, most important lessons from 2023 that I'm actually going to be bringing into 2024. I hope that you found this video helpful. If so, please let me know by liking it, by leaving me a comment, maybe subscribing. I will see you guys next time. Bye.